Make sure my mic's on. We are live. Let me make sure Facebook is activated. We activated. Yes, we are active on Facebook. And are we active on Instagram? We are active on Instagram. And I'm going to get my comment pinned here. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon. Shout yourselves out. I'm checking in from as y'all coming in. Excuse me. As y'all coming in right now, tell me where you're checking in from. Tell me your name and location. We're going to get into this topic in a minute. Shout yourselves out in the comment section. Tell me your name and where you are checking in from. Or tell me where you're checking in from. I can see your screen names. Tell me where you're checking in from. Let me get my pinned comment in here for Work on Your Game Live, which is taking place February 3rd and 4th. Brandon, what's going on? Hope you're having a good afternoon. As y'all checking in, again, shout yourselves out. Brandon checking in from Texas. Shout out to Texas. Texas is in the building over there on Facebook. Jones J34, where you checking in from? What is that a picture of? Is that, I forgot that guy's name from the Super Mario game. I remember that character. We got Arbin from Toronto. What's good? You about to go to the Philippines? Shout out to the Philippines. A lot of fans in the Philippines. Maybe one day I'll do an event out there in the Philippines. Jim Jones checking in from Connecticut. Is that Jim Jones the rapper? Jim Jones the cult leader? Or a different Jim Jones? Al Majed checking in from Oregon. Shout out to Oregon. Muhammad checking in from Oregon was good. Ralph's 32 said I need to cop that ticket. Your time is running out. The deadline is less than a week away. The deadline is actually this Sunday night to get your ticket. You should get your ticket right now. Because as a matter of fact, I'm about to let everybody know where the venue is because I waited to book a specific venue because I wanted to know exactly how many people we're going to have. This is going to be a great mastermind deep dive we're going to be doing for Work on Your Game Live. I'm telling y'all, this event is going to be the best bang for your buck you can get at any event you go to this year. That's just a fact. Shout out to everybody else with events. I'm going to go to I'll probably go to 10 events this year. I'm talking as an attendee, not as a speaker, but to attend. I'm going to go to 10 events this year. This event that I'm about to do is going to be the best dollar for dollar investment you make in going to an event this year. I'll tell you why later. We're going to get into our topic here today, which is why your future self is going to thank you, what your future self is going to thank you for. No, it's not online, in person. In person in Miami, Florida. So let me introduce myself real quick. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete. I'm the author of 33 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I created this whole brand called Work on Your Game, from where I took the mindsets and the strategies to help athletes get to the top 1% in the sports world. And we translated that over to the business world to help people like you do 3 specific things. This is what I help people do. Perform at a higher level, be more consistent, and make more money. All right, this is what I help people do. This is what Work on Your Game is all about. If you are interested in one of those things, 2 of them, or all 3, this is the place that you need to be when it comes to the Work on Your Game ecosystem. Most importantly, we got Work on Your Game Live coming up, but even past that, you got Work on Your Game University. So what I'm going to talk about today is why your future self is going to thank you. What are 3 things that 5 years from now, the 5 years from now version of you will thank you for doing right now? And what are 3 things that the 10 years from now, 20 years from now, versions of you are going to be happy that you did? I'm going to tell you what they are here today. So what you need to do is check yourself for these things I'm going to say and make sure that you're actually doing these things so that I'm not lying. Okay, so I'm trying to tell you what your future self is going to be happy that you did. But if you're not actually doing these things, then this is a lie. This is a fantasy. So you got to make sure you're actually doing these 3 things. I'm going to tell you what they are, why, and how you can start enacting these. Then I'm going to tell you how you can start actually employing these activities today. So number one thing your future self is going to thank you for is for delaying gratification, for having the discipline to delay gratification. The delayed gratification simply means passing on what feels good right now for what may not feel as good right now, but will actually pay off and give you better results in the future. So a simple example of delayed gratification would be your alarm clock goes off tomorrow morning and you're a little bit tired. You don't really feel like getting out of bed yet because you're not completely done sleeping. But you know, if you were to stay another 30 minutes in bed or another hour or even 15 minutes in bed, you're going to get a later start to your day. Therefore, there's going to be less things that you can get done. There, you're going to beat yourself up a little bit again because you didn't do what you're supposed to do, what you told yourself you're going to do. And then your day gets delayed. Then another thing doesn't get finished that's on your list. And then we got this whole cycle that keeps repeating itself. So the instant gratification will be to stay in bed, hit the snooze button. The delayed gratification is I'm going to get up even though I'm tired and get to my day and start to get into what I want to get to. At the end of the day, your future self at the end of the day tomorrow is going to be happier that you got up out of bed at 5 o'clock when the alarm went off rather than 5:30 because you decided to snooze the alarm. And I have people I work with, people in my university, clients of mine who they say they like to work out in the mornings, but a lot of times they don't work out in the mornings. Why don't you work out in the morning? Because instead of waking up when the alarm goes off, they hit the snooze button and they sleep for another 15 to 30 minutes. And that 15 to 30 minute window is where they're supposed to get their workout in. Therefore, they miss the workout. They get up, they get dressed, eat, and all that, and they go straight to work, don't get the workout in. Then this happens for like 3 weeks straight, and they're like, man, Dre, I ain't worked out in 3 weeks. Why is this? It's because of the delayed gratification that they have passed on in favor of the instant gratification. Your future self will be happier that you delayed gratification than if you took the immediate gratification. This is where the discipline comes in. Now, here's the secret to the discipline. Because this whole concept of just being disciplined and doing something like that, like getting up when the alarm goes off, or not eating a cake and ice cream, but instead eating some vegetables, or doing that extra set of burpees, or doing that extra mile when you're running on the treadmill, or making those extra phone calls if you're a salesperson, or writing that extra blog post, or sending that extra email to get your business going. All of you are familiar with this concept. Like, this is not brand new to any of you. But here's what might be brand new to a bunch of you, because when I talk to people about this concept of being more disciplined, or people even bring it up to me. When I ask people, what's your biggest challenge? A lot of times people mention something around the concept of being disciplined and consistent. Is that a lot of people think that in order to be more disciplined and consistent, that means it's all a mental thing. A lot of people think this, that if I want to be more disciplined, I just got to push myself. I got to tell myself, I got to remind myself, I got to listen to more podcasts, get Dre's motivational text that he sends out every morning. I got to read more books about it, get myself more, just activated mentally so I could be more disciplined. A lot of people think that's the key to increasing your discipline. I'm here to let you know that that is not the key to increasing your discipline. Let me tell you what the key is to being more disciplined. Key to being more disciplined is you need to put a structure in place that makes the discipline a simple, predictable byproduct of the structure. This is why I talk about strategies and systems so much, because at Work on Your Game Live, we're going to talk about this a lot. Because as I said, this event's going to be a deep dive mastermind, because you'll be able to get personalized attention from me that you can't get at other events. So we're going to be able to look at specifically what you're working at, what you're working on, where you're trying to get results, and how do we put a system and a strategy and a process in place such that you get results consistently from the thing that you're doing, from the process. It's not that I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of rah-rah that's going to make you hyped up to be disciplined. Now, you might get hyped up and be disciplined from time to time, but all of us can agree that if you're over the age of 18, you can't always depend on being hyped up and motivated. Some days you just don't feel like it. But if you have the right system, and if all you do is execute the system, you will still produce results even on the days when you don't feel like it. I talked about that in this book right here called The Third Day. If you have not read this book, you can get it for free. Just go on to thirddaybook.com. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, you may have even seen my ads for this book. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the link to this book is down below in the description, or watching this on YouTube on replay. But that book is where I talk about putting a structure and a system in place. And I give you the framework for it. But at Work on Your Game Live, I'm going to work with you specifically and about where you're trying to get a result. Where can we put a system in specifically for the thing that you're trying to do right now? How do you put a system and a process in place so that you can get the outcomes that you want? What's going on? Kuya Dolph checking in from the Philippines over there on Facebook. This is what we're going to be doing at Work on Your Game Live. That's why I told you it's going to be a deep dive. So to be more disciplined and to embrace delayed gratification, it is not just you trying to remind yourself about it, or just being more focused or being more mentally activated. Listen, that can work for a short period of time, but you can't depend on that every day. You're not going to be thinking that every day. You got other stuff on your mind. You got other things going on. You got kids to take care of. You got a family to deal with. You got your job. You got your career. You got whatever else is happening in the world. You're not always going to be thinking about that. You can't depend on that. All right, that's not a process. A process is a structure and a system that is in place All you got to do is follow what the system tells you to do, and you will be automatically disciplined. That's how you do it. Okay. So the number one thing your future self is going to thank you for is the delayed gratification that you were willing to embrace. Number two thing that your future self is going to thank you for is your willingness to take chances. Now, taking chances is not always an instantly gratifying thing, because sometimes actually is almost always not an instantly gratifying thing. Because when you're taking a chance, usually you're doing something you're not sure of. That's why it's a chance. Now, if it was something you were sure about, then you're not really taking a chance. That's just taking action. If I know what's going to happen, it's not really taking a chance. You're doing something where I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go, but I'm willing to place that bet on myself and put myself in a position where I may be a little bit uncomfortable, because I'm willing to bet that putting myself in this position of discomfort is going to make me better in the long run. Your future self will be happy that you did that. And we all understand the concept of the comfort zone, right? Is that you have to everybody understands the concept of getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Everybody always talks about that. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, the question is, what are you doing right now that is putting you in a position of voluntary discomfort that's going to make you better in the long run? I'm going to say that question again. What are you doing right now today, putting yourself in a position of voluntary discomfort that will make you better in the long run? Now, maybe you don't know. It's not guaranteed that it's going to make you better, right? Maybe you joined the gym and you hired a trainer and you know it's going to be uncomfortable to do the workouts, but it's not guaranteed that you're going to get in shape, but you're willing to bet on yourself that doing this is going to get you in better shape, because you know that if you don't do it, it's not going to get you in better shape. So you might as well try something different. So my question is, what are you doing right now that's putting you in that position of voluntary discomfort? Not involuntary. See, involuntary discomfort is when something just happens and you have to deal with it and you're uncomfortable. If your car breaks down and now you got to figure out how you're going to get to work and you got to figure out how to pay for that repair, that's involuntary. You didn't do that on purpose. But if you go hire a coach and the coach is going to tear down your whole business model and make you build it again from scratch, doing some stuff that you never wanted to do before, that's voluntary discomfort. You did that on purpose. You chose to do that. You hire a trainer and the trainer is going to kick your ass up and down that gym to get you in shape because you couldn't do it to yourself. That's voluntary discomfort. You signed up for that. My question is the beginning of 2023, when I'm doing this video, everybody talks about how they're going to do better and be better and go further in the new year. Okay, we're 19 days into the new year. What are you doing to push yourself to go further? Where are you putting yourself in a position where you can't turn back and you can't quit on it? Where have you made a commitment to where you can't quit? You hire a trainer, you're committed because you gave him the money. So whether you show up or not, that money's invested and you can't get it back. Ain't no refund on that. All right, now you got to show up. You hire a coach. You buy a ticket to an event. Or you got to do those things. You got to show up to whatever it is they're telling you to do, and they're going to have you doing and thinking some things that you wouldn't normally do or think on your own. You would never have thought of them on your own. You would never do them by yourself. That's the voluntary discomfort. Where are you putting yourself in that position? And the reason this matters so much is because your future self will thank you for all the voluntary discomfort you put yourself through. Because you're putting yourself in a position where, again, we all understand the concept. Comfort zone is what? Things that you're used to doing. You want to get better, you got to step outside the comfort zone. You have to push the limits of your comfort zone by doing things that make you uncomfortable. All right, that's the exact definition of getting out of your comfort zone, is being uncomfortable. So where are you doing it? Where have you put yourself in a position so far this year? 19 days in, where have you positioned yourself to where you're going to be uncomfortable? I'm not talking about you talked about getting uncomfortable. I'm not talking about you thought about it. I'm talking about you actually did it. Where have you made this commitment? It's been 19 days already. 19 days is a long time, everybody. 19 days is a long time. All right, you shouldn't still be thinking about it now. The new year has begun. All right, for those of you not familiar, like when I was playing ball, sometimes in the first quarter, we start the game and my teammates were kind of playing like they were half asleep. I call a timeout like 3 minutes into the game, get everybody in the huddle on the sideline and say, hey, newsflash, everybody, the game started already. I'm letting all y'all know the game started already. So what commitments have you made? This is a rhetorical question from me to you, but it's not a rhetorical question from you to you. When you ask yourself, you should have an answer to this question. If you don't have an answer to this question, then you need to wake up. We're 19 days into the new year, almost 3 weeks into this year. It's only 52 weeks in a year. You have less than 50 weeks left in 2023. It don't seem like a lot anymore, does it? You got a lot of time for which your future self is going to be looking back on its past self, i.e. you today, and is going to hold you accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable. So what are you doing right now? So that fear of risk that you feel today, the fear that you feel about investing in something that you never invested in before, or committing to something that you never committed to before, or deciding that you're going to do something and then actually doing it that you had never before experienced, that feeling of risk that you feel right now is not real risk. The only reason it feels risky is because you never did it before. Again, you're expanding your comfort zone. There's no real risk. I mean, you're not going to die. They're not going to throw you in jail. You're just feeling like it's risky simply because you're pushing yourself out of what is a normal normal set of circumstances, normal way of living for you. But you won't realize how invalid that fear is until you take the chances and you realize that that was much more opportunity than it was a fearful situation. It was a great thing. As the old saying goes, I have known a great many troubles and most of them never happen. All right. Most of the things that we are afraid of happening never actually occur. I would say about 2% of the things we're afraid of actually happen. Everything else is things that just get put in front of us to scare us and create fear. And some people use the acronym for fear: false enemies appearing real. All right, that is not a real thing. But what you're afraid of happening either isn't going to happen or won't be as bad as you think. So the chances that you don't take, this is the most important part. Every chance you don't take is going to be one of your biggest regrets in life. Your regrets are not going to be the things that you did that failed. Your regrets are going to be the things that you didn't do that you'll never know because you didn't have the guts to take action and take a chance on yourself. And if you're not willing to take a chance on yourself and bet on yourself, then why would you expect anybody else to want to take a chance on you and bet on you? Everyone who's listening to my voice right now, whether recorded or live, you want to make more money, be more successful, make more friends, and be more known and more established this year than you were last year. I can bet that I'm 100% correct with everyone who's listening to my voice, no matter when you are listening to this. Now, my question is, where are you betting on yourself in order to make that happen? Because it's not just going to happen randomly just because you said it. Just because you wrote it down on your notepad or you put it up on your vision board doesn't mean it's going to happen. You got to actually do something. You got to commit. If you want the universe to give you something, you got to give it something. All right? Everybody understands that, right? You can't get something without giving something. We all understand this. That in order to give, you got to receive. So, and whatever you put out is what you get back. Whatever you put into something, rather, is what you get back from it. So, what have you put into your advancement for this year besides your words and your thoughts? Because you're going to need more than that. Moving on to point number 3, while you marinate on that one, we're talking about the things your future self is going to thank you for, is going to appreciate you for. Third thing your future self will appreciate you for, if is actually true, by the way, is that you stopped waiting to finally live your life. You stopped waiting to live your life. How many people, I would bet everybody, has a bunch of things that you're going to do when? I'm going to do this thing when, after the kids get out of school, after I do this right here, after I make this much money, after I make these investments right here, after I lose this 45 pounds that I've been trying to lose for 10 years, after I make this much money that I haven't ever made before in my life. I haven't made any investments yet that's going to get me anywhere close to it. But as soon as I make it, then I'll go do these 30 things that I got on my list. How many of you got a bunch of things that you're going to do someday in life, but you have no actual concrete plan and no real roadmap to actually doing them right now because you haven't taken any actions that are going to push you outside of your comfort zone that will get you to that position? How many of you have that situation? I'm sure a whole bunch of you have that situation. Your future self will not be too happy with you if 10 years from now you still got that same list of things you're going to do someday, and 10 years are going by, you still got this someday list that I'm not Sunday, like Saturday, Sunday, no, someday, that you never actually get to. The only way you're ever going to get to those things on that one day when I list, one day when I blank, I'm going to do this, and this. I'm going to travel the world and I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to do all these things that you've never done before, things that look great, sound great, and feel great to think about them, but you need to actually put some things in place in order for you to do them. The only way you'll ever get close to doing those things is you're going to have to step outside of the zone of comfort that you are in right now. You got to do something that you're not used to doing. Why? Because if the things you were doing right now were enough to get you there, you would already be doing this stuff. You wouldn't have to put them on a list. You'd just be doing them, right? You wouldn't have to put on a list that I'm going to do these 10 things because you would just do them. Why you got to put it on a list? If it's something that I want to, if I want to do something, I don't have to put it on a list if it's in my comfort zone already. If it's in my comfort zone to do an Instagram live a few times a week, I don't have to write it down that, hey, one day I'm going to do an Instagram live 3 times in 1 week. I don't have to write that down. It's within my comfort zone. I do it whenever I feel like it. I do 3 Instagram lives in one day if I want to. But if you've never done one, you're definitely afraid of doing it and you're nervous about doing it and you're writing it down that one day I'm gonna do it. Well, once I get my script down and I'm more comfortable with my voice and I like how I look and my makeup is right and the weather is good and I can figure out what I'm going to talk about, then I'll do it. If you got all these parameters that have to happen before you actually do it, and then you never commit yourself to actually taking action, well, when is it ever going to happen? It's going to be 6 months from now. So it's January when I'm recording this. So it's going to be July. You're going to be looking at that list like, damn, I wrote that down in January. I still didn't do it yet. And there's nothing in the way of you doing it. Mechanically, nothing in your way. It's just the fact that you are waiting and you got all these parameters around when you're going to actually start doing the stuff that you've been talking about. Your future self will thank you if you start doing those things now, even if you're not good at it. This is the important add-on to what I just said. For you to get started on the stuff that you want to do, you don't have to be good. You don't even have to be mediocre. You could even be bad. You can be bad at stuff when you first get started, but you have to get started, because when you get started, you already are ahead of half of everybody, of all the people who are talking about doing thing XYZ. If you just start, even if you're not good at it, you're already ahead of half the people talking about it, because half the people will never, ever do anything. They'll talk about it. They'll write it down. They'll think about it. They'll watch other people do it, but they will never actually do it themselves. That's half the people. Then about 30% of the people who are remaining, so now we're up to about 80% of people, they will halfway try it one time. And it's not going to go that great for them because it's their first time doing it. They're not that good at it. It's not going to go that great. That's another 30%. So that's 80% of people right there. So y'all know the 80-20 rule? There you go. There's your 80% right there, between 0 and 1 attempts. Then the last 20%, about 15% of those people are going to do it a few times, but they're not going to really be serious about it. They'll do it a few times every here and there, sporadically, but never really stick with it. But they tried, though, and later on in life, 10 years from now, they'll say, I tried that and it didn't really work. That's what they'll tell you. Or maybe they'll be okay at it. They may not be great, but they'll be okay. They'll be passable, mediocre at best. And then you got about 5% who will stick with it and get serious and become great at it. That's pretty much how it breaks down. 80, 15, and 5. 80% of people either don't try at all or they give a half-ass one-time attempt and nothing comes of it and you never hear from them again. 15% of people are anywhere from okay to mediocre at best on their best days. And then 5% are going to become great at that thing. Every 100% of people think about doing anything. I don't care what it is. Starting a business, launching a podcast, writing a book, whatever. Name one of your goals for this year. 80, 15, and 5. That's pretty much how it works out. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how big or small the goal is. 80%, 15%, 5%. Question is, which group do you want to be in? And let me tell you what separates the 5% from everybody else. Number one thing is their willingness to continually show up. Just continually show up in a place in which they are uncomfortable. They are not established. They may be a nobody. They may be the least successful and least accomplished person in that space, but they continually show up. That's what separates them. I'm not talking about showing up as something that you already know how to do. So if you did all last year, you spent doing the same stuff that clearly doesn't work, but you keep showing up to that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about showing up to something in which you got to get pushed out of your comfort zone. Are we talking about real growth here? Not you getting comfortable with the same stuff that you've already done that you already know it does not produce a result. So let me recap the 3 things that I talked about here, because we're talking about not waiting until waiting until something actually happens. Do something now. Whatever you're thinking about doing, do it now, or accept the fact that you'll probably never do it. Because ideas are a dime a dozen. Ideas are cheap and they're generally worthless until they get acted on. Execution is priceless. Ideas are worthless. So with that said, I'm going to tell you the 3 things that your future self will thank you for if you actually do them. Okay, so this is the caveat to this is your future self will not thank you for these things you don't actually do. You got to do them to get thanked for them. Okay, so these are the 3 things your future self will thank you for. Number 1, delaying gratification. The things that you want right now, putting the gratification aside so that you can get what you need in the moment so you can have what you want in the future. So simple example is when your alarm goes off in the morning, instead of hitting the snooze button, you actually get out of the damn bed, turn on the lights, and get on with your day instead of giving yourself 15 more minutes of sleep. The delayed gratification is you don't get the gratification of staying in bed. You got to get out of bed and actually go do something. You move yourself to action. Just that idea, if you can burn that into your brain and make it a real thing, it becomes a discipline. It becomes a habit. And now you don't have that problem anymore of hitting the snooze button or, picking up a slice of cake when you should be eating some vegetables or drinking some water or eating a piece of fruit. In the long run, your body will thank you for that if you can stick to the process. So anything you know you need to be doing, but you haven't been doing, i.e. your discipline has been lacking, your future self will thank you if you can push yourself to do that, or you can get someone who can help you do it. Now, you don't have to do this all by yourself. All right. Nobody is perfect at everything. Go get some help if you are unable to do it on your own, remembering that you're on the clock. And when your time is up in life, your time is up, whether you do anything or not. Number two, taking more chances. Your future self will thank you for your willingness to take chances, things that aren't really chances. You may consider something taking a chance. You consider it risky, quote unquote, because you've never done it before. So it feels anxiety inducing and fearful to do something simply because you've never done it before. But once you actually do it, you realize, oh, this was nothing. Whatever I was afraid of is nothing even there. Fear is a thought, is not a real thing. Fear is not a tangible object that comes chasing after you like some monster that's hiding under your bed. Fear is a thought that exists in your mind, and as soon as you go towards it, it usually disappears and goes away like a ghost. So the thing that you're afraid of either isn't going to happen at all, or if it does happen, it won't be nearly as bad as you think it is. A lot of times what we do, our emotions enlarge things, and the more you focus on something, the bigger it gets. So when you're afraid of something, your fear of that thing and your focus on that fear makes it seem bigger and stronger and worse than it actually is. But when you go towards the fear and you address it, usually it goes away very quickly. So next time you're feeling fearful or anxious about trying something, that is not a sign that you should turn around and run away. It's a sign that you should go towards it. Anytime you're feeling fear or anxiety, that means you need to go towards the thing, because there are very few things that are actually going to injure you or hurt you or harm you seriously. It's just our minds have conditioned us to believe that these things are going to hurt us when they're not really. All it's doing is that's just your internal alarm system, i.e. your comfort zone, telling you, hey, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Don't do that. But if you can't ignore that voice, you'll never step outside of your comfort zone, and you basically take whatever age you are now, just add 40 years, and you'll be the exact same person, just older and uglier. Number three, your future self will thank you because you did not wait to start living your life. However it is that you want to live, those goals that you have, those things that you say you're going to do one day, you're going to do someday after I make this money, after I start a family, after I get out of school, after I complete this project, after I finally write my book, after I make $100 million, after I do all these things, then I'm going to do these 37 things that I have on my list. Your future self will be happy for the fact that you decided to actually get to work on those things today and not waiting until some random day in the future that doesn't even have a deadline to actually start doing the things that you want to do. Because I don't care what age you are, if you think you're old, you think you're young, or somewhere in the middle, one day you're going to be at a point where it ain't that much time left, and you're going to be looking back like, damn, it was that year, whatever year, name a year, 2005, 2012, 2017, 2023. And I was thinking about that thing. I wrote that thing down. I talked about that thing. I heard Dre say it. I didn't do anything. And now here I am, 65. Here I am, 82. Here I am, 77. Here I am on my deathbed. And I never actually did all that stuff that I was talking about. And you're going to wonder why you didn't do it. Your future self is not going to be too happy with you at that point. But it will be happy with you if you start doing something right now. It will be happy if you start taking action. And remember, you don't have to be good at what you start on. You just got to start. You don't have to be good to get started. You got to start to get good. I mean, you may have heard something to that effect before. If you haven't, then you can give me credit for it. But you need to burn that into your brain. Just get started. You don't have to be good. You just got to start. Remember the 80, 15, and 5 rule. 80% of people, or you take 100% of people who think about doing anything, 80% of them, all they do is think about it and do nothing. Or they give a half-ass one-time effort and never do it again. Don't even notice that they did it. Then you got 15% of people who will stick they'll do it, but they'll kind of be mediocre or okay because they're not really serious. They're kind of doing it, but they're like dipping their toes in. It's kind of like you see a swimming pool and somebody just sits on the edge of the pool and they put their feet in the water, but they never actually get in the water. That's the 15%. And then you got the 5% who go all the way in. And they're not good. They're not better than other people. They're not better than the other 95%. They're just more consistent than the 95%. And that's the thing that separates them. They're just more consistent. They keep showing up. That's the only thing that separates them. So then 5 years later, 10 years later, you see those people in the 5% and they're way better than everybody else. And you're like, oh, well, this person is just more talented. They just have more money. They have more help. They have more information. They have more whatever excuses we come up with when someone else is outperforming us. And there's none of those things. All it is that they just showed up more often than everybody else did. And that's the only thing that separated. That's what separated them from everyone else. So in the long run, it just seems like they're this superhuman individual when there's nothing superhuman about them. All they did was just show up more often. That's it. That's the whole game. So with all that said, if anybody got a question, put it in the comment section. I'll take a couple questions. We are talking about what your future self would thank you for, what it would thank your current self for if you actually do these things. So all of this is with an asterisk. None of these things apply to you if you don't actually do them. All right, so I'm just giving you some ideas. You got to actually put these to action. But my next event, Working Your Game Live, Sunday is the last day to get your ticket. This is not a virtual event. This is in person. It's going to be in Miami, February 3rd and 4th. This is going to be a deep dive mastermind event. The great thing about this event, as opposed to other events, and I go to other people's events, so this is not a knock on them. It's just different. Is that this event, you'll be able to get personalized attention from me. We can talk specifically about your specific situation, what you are specifically working on, your business, your ideas, your processes, your plans, or if you don't have any processes or plans, you will have them by the time that you leave this event, because we're going to dive deep into this stuff over the course of 2 full days. Listen, this is one of the best. Again, as I said, dollar for dollar, this is the best investment you can make when it comes to going to events in 2023. And I'm going to be at like 10 events. I already got like 5 on my calendar for the next 3 months. Like between now and the next 90 days, I got like 5 different events I'm going to go to. They're all going to be good. I'm going to them for different reasons, to get different pieces of information and approaches. But none of them is going to be like what I'm going to be doing at Working Your Game Live, February 3rd and 4th. I just know that for a fact. And again, not a knock on them. I'm going to these people's events. I pay money for the tickets, everything. So if you are looking for a place where you can go deep dive, get personalized attention for what you're going to do in 2023, this is the place you need to be. Get your ticket to Miami. Listen, it's 80 degrees in Miami right now. Y'all see this Apple Watch? Y'all see that? Y'all can't see this upside down, but if y'all can see this upside down, it's 80 degrees in Miami today. There's the 80 right there. See that orange? 80 degrees in Miami today. Why would you not be here? All right, if you're somewhere up north, or actually anywhere in America besides Florida, all right, it ain't 80 degrees where you at. All right, it's 80 degrees here. Why not come here for 2 full days? You get yourself a little vacation. You get to sightsee. I'll tell you all the places you could go to go sightsee. We're going to be very close to Miami Beach. You can get an Uber everywhere. You don't need to rent a car. You get an Uber. You can walk around. I'll tell you all the places you can go. I know the whole city. I've been living here since 2008, so I know everywhere you can go. And you can write all this off on your taxes because it's a business expense. All right, this is all a business. This is a business trip. So your flight, your hotel, your Airbnb, your Uber rides, all the food that you eat, every dollar you spend from the time you leave your house to the time you get back home, write it all off as a business expense on your taxes next year, and boom. So basically, you're not even paying for this. The government is going to pay you for it. And you get your ticket by going to workonyourgame.live. Who got a question? You got a question, put it in the comment section. Topaz Speaks, what's going on, lady? Good afternoon to you. Who else we got in here? Who's that? Jay Jones said, right flex. I mean, I didn't create Miami. I just live here. I mean, there's a million people here, so it ain't just me. I'm just telling y'all the facts of what's going on. But why not? Brandon, you should be at Working Your Game Live. You said, nah, I'm trying to stay looking good till I fall out. Me too. But again, we talking about the 80, 15, and 5. So you're talking about being in the 5. And not everybody can be in the 5%. So some people got to be in that 95%. Got to be somebody. All right. Hopefully it won't be you. Hopefully it won't be you. Question is, how much should I practice you playing in the Spain EBA league? As much as the coach tells you to. If you're in the league, do what the coach tells you to do. Swift says, how do you evaluate what events you will attend? It depends. You got to really know what you want. You got to know what you're trying to get, honestly. Is asking yourself, what do you want to get out of events? So some events I go to because I want to meet some of the other people who I know who are going to be there. So I want to meet, I'm not talking about the speakers, I'm talking about the attendees. So if I know these 5 people who I know and I respect them and I know they're going to be at the event, they bought a ticket, I'll buy a ticket. Like I'll get tickets to events that I don't even know. I don't really know nothing about the event like that. I don't even know the people, never heard of them before, but oh, these 5 people are going to be there. Or I respect their judgment. So I'm going to go to the event just so I can mix and mingle with them because my relationship with them, I can do business off of those relationships. Now, if the person on the stage is giving me good information, that's great. That's extra. I don't even care if the person on stage is good. Or in programs that I'm a part of, sometimes when you're a part of certain programs, they have events. So if you're a member of the program, they have an event, you go to the event. So there's that. And there's other events where, let's say I'm trying to get information on a certain topic. So let's say I was trying to get in great shape and there's somebody I think has good information on getting in shape. They're having an event. I'll go to that event. Or I'm trying to make money. This person's going to talk about money. Everybody talks about money, but let's say this person, I want to hear what they have to say. I'll go to that event. Or maybe there's a place where I can do multiple things. So let's say there's an event in Cali, right? In Los Angeles. And I got some family I know in Los Angeles. I got like 5 business contacts in Los Angeles. There's like 3 podcasts that I want to be on. And they say we only film in person, but you got to be in LA. I say, all right, well, look, I'll go to this event. I'll go see my family. I'll go make these business contacts, have business lunch, and I'll get on these podcasts. I'll make a trip out of the whole situation. So that's just an idea of kind of how I strategically think about why I'll go to an event. But the biggest thing is not often just because whoever's on the stage is just this amazing genius. That's not usually the reason why I go to an event. Because again, as I said, most people's events are not like mine. Mine is you're going to be learning directly from me, working directly with me for 2 full days, where most events you got like 25 different speakers and the main person is not even doing most of the talking. And that's cool. Again, that's cool because I might hear from somebody that I never heard of before. Like, I never heard of this person, but I like them. I might end up buying their book. I might get into their world later on down the line. But often one of the biggest things of going to events, especially big events where it's like thousands of people, I'm trying to meet the people in the audience. I'm trying to meet the attendees. I got a better chance of making a connection with one of the 1,000 people in the audience than I do connecting with one of the 10 people on stage. It's just by mere sheer numbers. And these are not just 1,000 random people, because when you go to a conference, everybody paid money for the ticket, everybody paid for the hotel, everybody paid for the travel, everybody paid for their food. So all these people are already investing in themselves. So this is a select type of, this is not just an average random 1,000 people from society. These are 1,000 people who all made a financial commitment. These are the kind of people I want to talk to. This is the kind of room I want to be in. So all of this is part of the way that I think about where I want to go and who I want to work with or what kind of events I want to go to. And also just talking to other people. If there are people who I respect their business acumen and they know something that I don't, just their word is enough, depending on who it is. If they say, Dre, I'm going to this event. And I'm like, I never heard of that event. I never heard of this person, but you're going. I respect you. I'll go. Sometimes that's enough, depending on who it is. But you got to have the right relationships to even to be able to make that kind of decision. You got to know people. That's why I talk about being outside. So Topaz speaks. Yes, this is going to be like a mastermind more than a conference is the way I would explain it. Conference is kind of like of a whole bunch of people and kind of like a concert. This is going to be like a deep dive mastermind for 2 full days. So if you like what I talk about here, this is the event you want to be at, is work on your game. Wow. Let's see. 80 and humid though, not dry heat. That's right. Yeah, I like when it's humid. I don't like dry heat because then your skin gets all dry and you need chapstick and I don't like all that. I like humidity. Rob says, do I like Mark Cuban? What about him? I mean, yeah, I like Mark Cuban. I like him on Shark Tank. Other than that, I don't really hear him doing anything. I'm not saying he's not doing anything, but I don't follow him on social or anything like that. But on Shark Tank, I like him on Shark Tank. Everybody should watch Shark Tank. If you're an entrepreneur, you should watch Shark Tank. Topaz said, I may need to come. Where are you located, Topaz? You got to turn that may into a must and go get your ticket at workonyourgame.live, because I'm telling you right now, if you wait and think about it, then you're not going to do it. So you might as well just go get your ticket right now. Go to the link in my bio. It's workonyourgame.live. Bring your challenges, bring your process, bring whatever you're working on right now. Okay, Cincinnati, perfect. So it's snowing in Cincinnati right now. So you might as well come here. Why would you not? Now let's see what the weather is in Cincinnati right now. Oh, you want to see what the weather is in Cincinnati. Cincinnati weather. Yeah, so go get the ticket right now. All right, so I'm looking at the weather. Cincinnati is 58 degrees and raining. Is that right? So past Cincinnati. Tomorrow is going to be 39 degrees, 42, 43, 40, 45. All right, we got like double that. All right, so the temperature you got, we got twice. So take your temperatures in Cincinnati and multiply that by 2. You got the Miami weather. All right, 60. All right, well, it ain't going to be 120 here, but it's going to be pretty warm. All right, Aswan, I'll see you later. All right, everybody. So we're going to wrap this one up. I'm about to eat dinner, get my stuff ready for tomorrow. And I will probably do another live. Tomorrow's Friday. I'll probably do another couple lives on You Hope That I Stream the conference. Not this time. I might stream sometime in the future, but I really like in-person events. I personally like going to events in person. I don't do virtual events. I'm not a big fan of virtual events because I don't pay as much attention. It's not the same experience. And if I'm paying for an event, I want to meet people. I want to shake hands if I go to an event. A virtual event is kind of like watching YouTube, as far as I'm concerned. That's if I could watch YouTube for free. I like in-person events. I like to shake hands. I like to meet people. I want to feel people's energy, and I want to meet the other people who come to the event. That's really why I go to events, as I just told y'all. But a bunch of people ask me about the streaming thing. I might do a streaming event sometime in the future. We'll see, but don't hold me to that. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe for people in my university, I might do events for like member-only stuff, like university members, things like that. But anyway, everybody, workonyourgame.live is where you get your ticket to that event. The link is in my bio on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, the link is in the pinned comments. If you have a question, anything I didn't answer, go to that page, workonyourgame.live. There's an FAQ on the page. Tells you everything you need to know, what days to fly in, where to stay. All of that stuff is covered in the FAQ on that page, workonyourgame.live. After you get your ticket, send me a text. Let me put my text message number in here. Send me a text at this number right here. Let me know that you got your ticket and that you're going to be coming to Work on Your Game Live. I might ask you a couple questions about where you're at, what you're working on, and what you want to get from this deep dive 2-day event that we're going to be having. So I can be prepared for what you're going to be doing. We got a 90-day program. 90-page program booklet that everybody's going to be getting who comes to the event. That is going to be coming. They already told me, the printer already told me this. It's shipped, so it'll probably be here on Monday the 22nd, Monday the 23rd. It'll be coming in. I just got the email that's going to be coming in on the 23rd. So it's a 90-page program. Only attendees will get that program. So you want to be here. Listen, 90-page program, 2 full days. You'll have my direct individual attention for 2 full days. And again, you're going to leave here with a full game plan. So again, come to Miami, February 3rd and 4th, Work on Your Game Live. Next event I will do after this one, I don't know. It might be at least a year before I do another event. There's other things I'm going to be focused on for the rest of this year. But don't say you weren't told. Don't say I didn't tell you. I'm telling all y'all right now what it is. Go to the link in my bio. Get your ticket to this event. I'll probably do another live we got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday's the last day to get your ticket. So I'll probably do lives each of the next 3 days. So y'all turn on whatever they do on Instagram, notifications, whatever they do when somebody goes live. Stay tuned. Be ready. Because I'm going to be talking about some other things. And of course, y'all know my reels and all that. Text me to get my daily motivation text. There's my number, 305-384-6894. All right, everybody. I got to eat dinner. Y'all have a good evening, good afternoon. Work on your game. We out of here.